What's up, you guys? So I am Layla Lynn. I am here with your favorite YouTubers, Make It Make Sense, and the Grace Report. We are doing this every week. This is our weekly recap of the Real Housewives of Atlanta. No matter what happens, we're going to come on and talk about it. So thank you guys for joining us for our live Mims. Make It Make Sense. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm still excited because this season has not been about destroying anybody, so I'm good.
Okay, well, we'll keep watching. Grace, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. I had a very kind of like uneventful weekend, which is the way I like it. I went to like the movies by myself yesterday, which I love to do on Sunday. So I feel good. What about you?
Oh, yeah. I feel amazing. Shout out to the people I was with this weekend. I had an amazing weekend, like the best weekend in a long time. Yeah. So, what did y'all think of the episode? We'll start on a scale of 1 to 10 because I did watch a couple reviews. Shout out to Scotty by Nature, Color Me Pink, Ashley Miller. I watched their reviews, and some people feel like it was a filler episode. So, I want to know on a scale of 1 to 10, what would y'all rate it?
I'm gonna give it a strong 7. I didn't mind it.
I am with the people who say it's a filler episode. I was like, what is this? Like already we're only 3 episodes into the new season and it's already feeling like this. 4 or 5. 4.5. Let's go.
Oh, Grace, you are so hard.
I'm sorry, but it's the truth.
Oh, okay. So you guys put in the comments what you would rate it. For me, I would say I would also say a 7 Mims. Yeah, because I did like the episode overall. I like the end of it more than anything. So, and we're gonna get into that. That whole situation with Marlo. It seemed like Marlo switched up on Candy. Like we know that Candy was supporting her as far as her being what's she called? Monty. We know that Candy was supporting her and her nephews, but it seemed like once Marlo got a peach that she kind of like switched up on Candy and started coming for Candy. And then we see why. It's like a year later and we see why that Marlo feels like Candy, didn't really react to her nephew's passing and her nephew worked for Candy. So we're going to get into that. I see Mims, you're looking kind of like but
I
yeah.
tried to see it from Marlo. I really did. I really wanted to hear what she had to say, but we'll get into it later.
Okay. So I see. What's up, Gracie? She said it's a 7. I do see a lot of 7s in the comments. Mr. Claus said it's a 6, 7. Okay, I see we're between a 6 and a 7.
What did Grace give it? Because I heard filler, but I don't know if you gave it a 5. Oh.
Yeah, I gave it like a 4.5. I was like, I found myself, I don't know if you guys are the same. So whenever I watch shows, I have a notes app, the Evernote app on the side. And I found myself like texting or like just reading through my other notes for other stories I want to do because I was just not that engaged with the episode. It just felt like whatever.
So if you weren't doing this live broadcast, would you keep watching the season or would you feel like it's a butt?
That's such a good question. That's why I'm so happy to be broadcasting with you guys. It's keeping me on this because I probably would have been like, okay, well, I'll check back in 2 episodes and binge, the 2 episodes I missed or 3 episodes because so far it's not compelling. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. So let's get into it. From the comments, it looks like you guys also rated a 6 or a 7. One thing. So we talked about before how on the Real Housewives of Atlanta, and not just Real Housewives of Atlanta, but on all the Real Housewives shows, the franchise, like the ratings are slipping. And one thing, in my opinion, seems to be like, you know how you kind of pretend, like when they're on the show, they pretend the cameras are not there. And when you're watching, I guess you're supposed to pretend that you don't know that the cameras are there. Like it's a little bit of make-believe that goes with it. And so it seems like on this episode, like they broke the 4th wall, which they've been doing a lot lately. And I feel like that's helpful as far as just making the show more interesting because people do get tired of the same old, adults get tired of pretending. And so one thing I did like about this episode was that they broke the 4th wall so much. I felt like that was the best part of this episode.
Wait, when did they break it?
At the very end, when they had like the it said producer cam.
Okay.
When Marlo and Drew were talking, that was supposed to be like off camera. I guess the
Mm.
producer always has a camera, but that was supposed to be off camera.
They don't ever want to have another situation like Beverly Hills, where they had the fight in the van. That was the central issue for the whole
Um,
season
Mm-hmm.
and
that
it
nobody
wasn't.
knew. Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, and that's very irritating to watch. So I definitely understand always having a camera rolling. But we can start from the top of the episode. We have Drew and Ralph. You know, they did music together. She released a song, and she says Ralph is kind of backing up now that the song is out. Ralph is kind of backing up from supporting her music. What did you guys think of what you saw of Drew and Ralph this episode?
I'll let Grace start.
It didn't seem toxic this episode, so that's good. I was kind of curious what she expected from him because I thought that like the extent of his interest in the music was like the magic of making it. Then afterwards, they leave it to the PR, the marketing, and stuff. I didn't know what she expected from him. Yeah, I was a bit confused. What about you guys? Did you feel the same way?
I felt exactly the same way. I was like, "Oh, does Ralph do marketing?" Like I didn't know. I thought he was a music producer. I didn't know. And maybe he does do marketing, but I didn't know. I didn't know if he did marketing or not. I didn't know what she expected of him either. But it seems like it's something, like he must do something cuz she definitely had an expectation of him.
Yeah.
All she says is that he works in tech, and I will tell you guys, he works for Circuit City. Nothing that they have ever said made sense. Upgrading to that big of a house, if you have to wait till you get a Bravo check to upgrade your home, then you probably should not be in that home. Just like Arlo is no longer building that house.
Yeah.
So it never jived. And he's in music, he's in this, he's in that. We have a chef that's there. We have Anthony, that boy in the butt pads. It never makes sense with Ralph and Drew. The best part about Ralph and Drew is that daughter. She is absolutely adorable. But out of that, that's it. That's all I got for them.
I feel like you're never gonna let that guy go. The guy with the well, I don't even know if it was butt pads. I actually think it might have been his real butt. But whatever it was, I feel like you're never gonna let it go.
It was like a character produced for the show. And so I feel like they have been acting since day one, and that's why I can't get with it. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Circuit City.
What is Circuit City? Because I thought he owned a startup. What is Circuit City?
I thought it was closed. Is Circuit City still around?
It is closed. Best Buy took it out.
Oh, okay. It was like it was an electronics store, basically.
So he's working in the store on the floor or corporate?
I just don't like Blockhead. I'm sorry. We were introduced to this man while he was in Tampa, not with his wife. So it was never going to be a situation where I thought I liked him. I'm sorry. You have small kids at home and you have fled the scene.
Yeah, that was sad.
That was
I'm sorry, guys. I'm not American. I don't know what it is, but I do know Radio Shack and I do know Best Buy. So I'm getting the concept.
Okay, yeah, sorry. Before there was an Amazon, there was a Circuit City and Best Buy, and you used to get all your stuff from there. So Black Friday, you were either going to Circuit City or Best Buy, and they would have different sales on different CDs. So Best Buy would have cheaper CDs one week, so you're going to Best Buy. The next week it'd be Circuit City, you get your CDs from there.
That's so funny.
Why is Trent naked? What is going on? Trent, put some clothes on.
Oh, I missed that. Hold on. I was trying to click on it. Yeah, so they're
put some clothes on, sir.
I just had to see for myself for a second. But yeah, so I don't know if this, because obviously they're gonna show, Drew and Ralph, growing apart, but I don't know if this was the beginning of it or not. You know what I mean? I can't really tell if this was the beginning of it. But then we also have, so Candy is talking to Don Juan and they're talking about BravoCon and the way things unfolded at BravoCon between Mama Joyce and Todd, and Mama Joyce is still publicly hating on Todd, which is so embarrassing. And so basically the question was asked of Candy, like, I believe had something to do with like her will, or, in the untimely event of her passing, who would she want to control her estate, Don Juan or her mother? And I felt like she made a good choice, actually. When she said Don Juan, because she wants everything to be fair. And I felt like he would do whatever Candy said. I feel like he would do exactly what she said. Whereas Mama Joyce, I do feel like she would play favorites, even between the grandchildren. I feel like she would play favorites towards Riley. I feel like Kayla might be out back messing around with Mama Joyce. And
Mhm.
then apparently Mama Joyce didn't like what Candy said. And so on another panel, when they asked Mama Joyce about Todd, she said he's still short and she wishes that Candy had married somebody with more money. So what did y'all think of Mama Joyce throwing that much shade at her son-in-law?
She is so toxic and so miserable. I feel like Candy really truly needs to set boundaries with that woman. Like the fact that you cannot trust your mom to handle your money and like treat your children and your husband like equal, worthy people. Like that to me is a red flag enough that something's going on with that relationship that needs to be repaired or severed or limited. And then for her to go in on Todd, his height and stuff, like he's got 2 kids with Candy. This stuff affects the kids at this point. His daughter saw it. That's horrible for her too. Like, I don't know what Todd has done to deserve the way she speaks about him. Like, to me, she just seems so nasty and miserable. It was kind of cute and funny, like ain't no mountain high or river wide enough or whatever to keep me off. That was funny. But like all these years later, they've been married like 6-7 years. Like, stop at this point. It's weird.
Yeah, especially now since he's the father of your grandchildren. It's like he's in the family now. He's not just somebody Kenny is dating or even married to briefly. Like he's in the family now.
Mm-hmm.
But Mims, what did you think?
I agree. I said that in my review last night. The Ain't No Mountain High Enough was hilarious. But we're now like 9 years in and he's solidified and now he makes his own money. I don't think that there would ever be and I love Mama Joyce almost as much as I love Aunt Bertha. But I don't think that there would ever be a space where Mama Joyce would be happy with Todd as long as Todd is getting part of the inheritance should Candy die. Hard
Mm.
stop. That's it. That's
So
always
it's
been
about
the
money.
Yeah.
You believe it's about money?
Definitely. I think that she feels as though a man should be having Candy in his will, but not necessarily Candy having a man in hers.
That's interesting.
My money's my money and your money is my money. That's what I think.
Yeah. Yeah, wow. That's interesting. You guys, thank you for joining us in the chat. We have over 500 in the chat. So if you're watching, make sure you hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to both Make It Make Sense and Grace Report. They're our guests today on our Real Housewives of Atlanta review, and I definitely appreciate their presence. So make sure you subscribe to them and support their channels as well. So after we had that moment, I felt like it was kind of like inconclusive. Like when I believe it was Todd talking to Candy about it, and it almost looked like she smirked. Like I feel like she doesn't do enough for her mom. Like I feel like she doesn't set boundaries. She's not going to sever the relationship. Her saying that she's not talking to her mom right now, I don't think that bothers her mom. If she doesn't talk to her mom for a week or two, I don't think Mama Joyce is bothered by that. So I really feel like she needs to set firm boundaries with her mom if she wants that type of behavior to stop.
And you
But
know what? On the topic of BravoCon, how about someone walking by Ralph and Drew saying, "Gaslight me, Ralph, gaslight me."
I wish he would have done it. I wish he would have gaslit her, like do something. I wish he would have gaslit her. That would have been
I'm pretty sure Ralph would have gaslit her all night long.
I heard that in
Married and all.
voice. Yeah.
Yeah,
I just don't see it for him. Have we talked about the record yet? I can't remember which part of it, the story. Have we talked about the 30,000 copies or is that later?
No, that was at the beginning of the episode. What are your thoughts on it?
Made me so upset. I was so upset. This is basically an independent artist who got 30,000 streams just based on, the hard work. You should be supporting her. You should not say off the jump, that's not a lot. Like you are putting your wife down again on TV and she has to kind of coax you into saying it was a good job. That is not a good sign for a marriage, a relationship, somebody who wants to be your manager. He really is just a nasty Circuit City employee, disgruntled.
He wants to be her manager? I'm
Well,
not
that's
even.
what he was kind of saying. He's in music management. He's doing this. That's
Oh,
what I got from it.
oh, I
And the
missed
Ike
that
and Tina reference.
That was
part.
crazy. That was crazy. Not even cute. Like, why would he, say that, do that? So odd.
Yeah. I'm not a fan. You guys, let's vote. I don't know if I can do a survey from StreamYard, but what do y'all think about having like your partner involved in your career, like as far as management? What do you guys think of it? Like you're the talent and they're the manager. What do you guys think of it? Leave a comment. We'll say one. If you're all for it, put a one in a comment. If you're not, if you think it's gonna cause problems, put a two in the comment section.
You two are solidified on YouTube. You two are officially a brand. Would you allow your significant other to be your manager?
Oh, tough question. Here's what I think. If the person is already like educated in what you need them to be educated in order to propel you to a higher level, like maybe they have a business degree or this or that, okay, we can talk about it. And they've already gotten a track record. But if they just want to do it to see if it would work for them, no.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
I was dating Candy, yes, you could be my manager.
Right. She's got a track record. She's got what it takes,
He wants
Yeah.
her. Her husband wants her in the business, executive producing, and maybe if not management, like, let's use another. I don't know if I want to use that one, but there are other YouTubers whose significant others work in either executive producing their content, work with them closely, and because of their actual business acumen, it makes sense. I say go for it, but not if you're Ralph.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah. It would have to make sense, but Imma still lean on the side of no. Imma because I don't like problems at home. Like, don't try to talk to me about work, like, we're with the kids or it's just me and you having a date night. I feel like it's gonna bring work into my romantic life, and I don't like
Mhm.
that.
Yeah.
Donna
I'm
Clay says not like a Kevin or Kelvin.
oh my god. I hate him. I hate him.
Causing all those problems for poor Wendy.
Yes, got her going crazy. Oh my god, the way he had a baby on her. When she said that's the one thing I don't want you to do is have a baby, and then he turned around and had a baby.
Mhm.
Oh my god.
Well, especially since she couldn't have any more. Like,
Yeah, she wanted a girl. That was the thing. I know this is a little off topic, but that was like the worst part. Wendy always wanted a girl, and then he turned around and had a girl with his side
Ooh,
piece. That was crazy.
that's really
That
sad.
was crazy.
But you
Yeah.
know what? This is a thing. I feel like when you teach people that they can disrespect the hell out of you, they're going to disrespect the hell out of you. So don't turn around and act shocked, surprised, and devastated when they do it. She's been letting that man cheat on her for decades. What do you
Yeah.
expect?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not into like I would never let somebody cheat on me or whatever they do, like open relationships. I'm okay. Especially I'm the one making money. No, no.
Exactly. Who do you think you are?
Uh, right. You can't have your cake and eat it too.
Mhm.
I'm gonna take that cake.
while we're being a little bit off topic, you did hear Marlo say in that interview that Candy liked armpits and feet when she did the interview with Jason Lee.
Did you see that, Grace?
I didn't see that part. I saw her talking about the shoes with Drew, the fake designer with Candy, but Candy likes armpits and feet.
That's what
Okay.
Marlo said.
But even if she does like armpits and feet, the problem is she has opened herself up to you. She's opened herself up to all of us. We know Candy, can get a little, nasty with it. And that's her thing. But Marlo, we don't know anything that you've done. The only thing that we know that you have actually done is you coaxed Pizza John into your apartment or house or your den, your lair, your workspace, and you got that man to pay your bills, and then you recorded his phone. We don't know what tricks you pulled to get that man to pay all your bills or why his phone was unlocked in your house, but that's the only thing that we know, and you didn't share that. Kenya shared that. That's my issue with Marlo. Candy
Yeah.
would probably be open about that. She said she puts pop rocks in her hoo-ha because it makes it sticky. Y'all remember that?
Oh, I remember it. I
That's
remember it,
so she's
unfortunately.
open about
Right. Unfortunately, nobody wants to hear that.
I'm
I,
sorry, but you get what I'm
yeah.
saying. She's open with it. So that's not a read to Candy. A lot of people like feet.
You want to
It
tell
is
us
what it
something,
is.
Mims?
I
Well,
didn't
I'm
say I like feet.
flabbergasted.
I just said it's
Whew,
people like feet.
I'm with me. I'm dead. It's my own live, and I'm dead. I'm gone. I done
I'm
passed over
sorry.
you guys.
I'm sorry. I'll
Somebody got
take
to
it down.
control my state. Ooh, okay. All right. But yeah, that Jason Lee interview, that it was crazy. It was a lot said. It was so much said. But
Mhm.
like I said, we see why, Marlo has it out for Candy now. So in the next scene, Courtney comes over to Drew's house, which, Ralph is her cousin now. So she comes over to Drew's house, and I want to know if y'all thought this was phony. She comes over to Drew's house, and then Drew calls Candy to invite her because she's going to sing at Candace's tour. Was it phony for Drew to call Candy, knowing, even though she didn't witness it, knowing that Candy had an issue with Courtney?
Yeah, she wanted a moment there. I think Courtney outsmarted her though, because didn't she walk away? She's like, "I'll let you do that. I'm gonna go with the guys." I was like, "Good for you," because I thought she was thirsty and she would dig into that moment to like kind of earn her peach, but she was not. She was not with it, and I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah. What about you, Mams?
Definitely messy. Messy, thirsty, tired, delayed, everything you can think of because she's trying to make up for the fact that she wasn't even in the first episode. But
Yeah.
Courtney bringing that dude, I think was her trying to have a claim to fame. I like group
Yeah.
theory, but it was given very Leon and Cynthia, except Leon coming around to co-parent is different than you taking this man to dinner with you. I was thinking this was her husband or her man, but to take your baby daddy just so that you can have that on television, no offense, nobody cares
Mm,
about group theory in 2023. And he was doing Chitlin Circuit
wait a minute.
plays or movies with Drew 10 years ago. No offense, the guy seems nice, but that was a tool to make us want to know more about Courtney, and it did not work for me.
Honestly, when she said they had been dating, dating, on and off for 20 years, 2 decades, I about fell out. Like, what is that? That is so insane to me.
That's some Tanya stuff, right?
Yeah, but
Right.
people do that. It is insane, but I've known the people to do that. Like
Oh,
I've seen people do it for like 15 years. It'll be, the same person or the same group of people that they just rotate for years.
That's
So it seemed weird, but at the same time, it does happen. But I was also wondering if she brought him for clout, because I was like, if this is not your man, why is he here? I was wondering the same thing.
your daughter is 24.
But Courtney looks good. To have a daughter that's 24, she looks good, right?
real good.
Yeah, no, she looks great.
But wait, dating on and off for 20 years and the daughter's 24. The daughter was had 4 years before they started dating. The math doesn't make sense to me there.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. Yeah, that's true.
Oh, was she a
Mhm.
groupie? Is that what you're getting at?
I'm not sure.
Could be.
Just curious.
So
Yeah.
I hadn't even thought about Grace is solving mysteries. I had not
Mhm.
thought you had a daughter 24 years ago, but you said you dated for 20 years. So you were
Mhm.
oh.
Does not up.
Oh
Oh,
my
so maybe they
God.
had a gift certificate like that dude from Pillow Talk and his wife.
Oh my God. Oh my God. I forget his name. I know who you're talking about. I
Oh,
forget
I
their
cannot
name.
remember.
But yeah,
Oh,
they
was it not? That's not Monique, was it? I can't remember, but
no,
the
it
one that
wasn't. It
called
was
Todd a swerver.
yeah.
Oh, that was Monique. It was spelt different, right? Monique, but it's
Mhm.
Monique.
Monique was
Yeah.
Chuck's.
Yeah.
Really? Oh.
One
Monique
thing
was
I
Chuck's.
yeah, Monique and Chuck, and then there was I don't want know why I want to call him. I don't know. I'm gonna leave that alone because I don't remember
Christopher
his name.
Williams.
Okay, Christopher Williams and his girlfriend. But one thing I also, even though I don't like Courtney, I did admire like when she was at Drew's house. I admired that she noticed that Senior switched up on her. Like when they were at Sheree's house and they had that conversation about, Candy bringing the hood out or whatever. Sanya was laughing, but then when she confronted Candy in front of Sanya kind of switched it up. You know what I mean? So I do like that she noticed that.
Mhm.
But what do y'all think about Sanya being like a flip flopper?
She's been fake from day one. It's disappointing because I loved her. I'm such a track and field lover, but
Yeah.
she's fake and she's thirsty and she's just a very fair weather friend. on this show. Maybe she's different in real life, but on the show, she's very hit and miss.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like her either.
Do you think she's ruining her legacy? Because I also enjoy track and field, and seeing
Mm-hmm.
her from this point of view, I'm not loving it. I'm not loving it. It's totally different from what I thought of her. I do like, well, I did like seeing her like, in her element, but seeing her from this point of view, it makes me feel like you're tarnishing your legacy. Like those 4 gold medals that you were talking about, like you're tarnishing them on this show.
Mm-hmm. I don't
I
know.
just
That's a
don't
good
care
question.
enough about her to think about her legacy
Mm.
or her that I'm not trying to be mean, but on the show, you know, we're supposed to be getting like lifestyle things and stuff like that. I like that she's trying to, do things for her family. But outside of that, with your family disrespecting you, they're looking at you crazy. It just Sanya is a bad cast to me.
Yeah, I would agree. Drew is growing on me somewhat,
Like
almost like a friend
fungus.
to the show. Yeah, like a
Like fungus
fungus.
to the show.
Yeah. But Senior, I still don't get Atlanta from Senior. I still feel like she is just there. Like they're all in that house. They're just there for the show, but she's not Atlanta. And I like when the girls give you the vibe of that city. Like Candy is Atlanta. Portia was Atlanta. Nene was Atlanta. Like I like when they give you Atlanta. And I just don't get that from Senior.
You know
That's a good
what? I
point.
don't get Atlanta from Kenya either, but she's an
Well,
awesome person on the show. When I see her, I would not guess she's an Atlanta girl. No, I don't know where I would guess she was from. Maybe she's like a California girl or
Yeah,
something.
LA. Yeah,
Yeah,
very
I
good
wouldn't
LA.
see her as an Atlanta girl, which is
yeah,
interesting
that
because I
is
never
true.
thought about that.
Yeah. But I just like Kenya. Like I just
Hmm.
like I guess it might be the Miss USA thing.
Yeah.
But I just like Kenya. So maybe I overlooked that. But yeah, she definitely doesn't give you Atlanta at all.
Her
But
house
ooh,
even.
yeah. But I love her house too. I love the modern vibe. I love that.
Mhm.
I
It's
love that.
very LA.
Yeah. She made a little LA in Atlanta. And I think
Mhm.
that's fine. I think that's great. You should make yourself at home wherever you are. But what did y'all think? So she was invited by Candy Girl, to perform with her at the City Winery, which was some type of, bar or whatever. And so Drew hasn't sung in years, like live. And then she comes on, she sings with Candy. And I thought it was gonna be it was a duet, but I thought it was gonna be like a whole song.
She still hasn't sung in years based on that performance.
Yeah, that was them warming up together in public. Like it felt like, like when you sing a little something and then like I don't know. It felt like you're taking your first like singing class and they want to know where you're at. So they're like, repeat this. Let's see if you're tone deaf or not. That's what it felt like. Like I felt like they could have collaborated on a song, something. It wasn't good. It wasn't good. And I know Drew's a good singer and she probably was disappointed. And it sucked for her. It really did. They could have done more.
Are you saying
Yeah.
that was Kim Zolciak and Jan from season 1? We got a
Yes,
tightrope
that's
between me and
exactly it.
you, and I don't know that's Grace is like the silent killer. She's so poised and pulled up, and then she throws out a dagger and just smiles, and you didn't even realize that she just shanked you.
Yes, it went straight over your head.
It is what it is, y'all.
43 seconds is no time to perform. It almost would have been better if she made Drew her background singer for the entire thing and then let
Mhm.
Drew open for her or something. That was a
Yeah.
full flop. This was Candace being super smart and getting her stuff on Housewives of RHOA, the bigger
Mm.
franchise. It was
Yeah.
very smart on Candace's part, and Candace was basically blockhead that day. She gaslit you into thinking that you were going to be a big major part of this show, and you came out for 43 seconds. You
Wow.
were Tamar to Tony.
Yes.
And even Tamar says she not doing doo-wop pop pop no more.
Yes.
Said that. Yeah. Thank you, I Code Switch. Thank you for the super chat. I Code Switch said, I appreciate Courtney trying to tastefully slide into the other room when Drew called Candy, but Drew was determined to make a FaceTime moment. That's what they're saying about the acting on the show. Like you're being messy, you're acting, and even like your own, I guess you would say cousin, was not with it.
Mhm.
Oh, AJ said Kenya is planning to sell her house. That's interesting,
Um,
especially considering her divorce. That's interesting.
Mhm.
Layla, would you be claiming a cousin who only acknowledged you after you guys were on a show together? Y'all are like 40 years old, 50 years old. I'm not trying to get a play cousin at 50.
Ooh.
That's
Ooh.
something you do in your teens and maybe early 20s. Oh yeah, that's my cousin. But you have known that there's a connection for all these years. You clearly watched the show. So why didn't you reach out to Drew and Ralph 2 years ago when they started on the show after you realized that y'all were cousins?
She said she didn't know. Like for me, if it's an in-law, it's an in-law. But if it's my blood cousin, yes. I don't care. If it's my blood cousin, yes, I would acknowledge him. But for Drew, it's an in-law. So, it is what it is. But I hope she doesn't get too caught up in Courtney because it seems like Drew, has an affinity for Candy. And it seems like obviously Courtney doesn't. Like she wants to try Candy. So I hope she doesn't get caught up in that and really feel like that's her cousin and she got to side with her.
Mhm.
I would
She
hope
did get
not.
her name changed. It went from Sheree's friend to Sheree's friend and Drew's cousin. That's her
Oh my
title.
God. It should say Ralph's cousin. She's not really
I
Drew's
mean,
cousin.
I meant Ralph's cousin, yes.
Oh, okay, it does. Okay. Okay. So after they have, the moment, first of all, what did y'all think of Candace's outfit? Let me ask y'all that really quick.
On the
Can
stage,
her performance outfit.
it was cute. I liked it. It felt very Beyonce. I feel like I've seen
Yeah.
Beyonce wear that. Was it the Formation tour or the thing? She wore it to the Super Bowl even when she jumps out of the thing, down to the wig and the fan and everything. It was a little cosplay. I'm not gonna lie.
But you loved it. It's
Legs,
cosplay, but you
hips,
loved it.
Yeah.
body.
Mhm.
She's giving natural body, and I love that. So many people go out and buy their bodies now. The fact that she's fine with her slim frame and her great
Uh-huh.
body, and she's not trying to do anything else with it, I go for it. I'm loving the people who are just natural with who they are, and her body is ridiculous. So do it while you can.
Yeah, I
That's
thought
true
she
too.
looked cute. I definitely felt like it was homage to Beyonce with the blonde wig and the onesie. I definitely felt she looked cute. I feel like Candace is really confident. So I love Candace's look. When Drew
Mhm.
performed, I felt like that wasn't a performance outfit. Like the shorts, I don't care
No.
if they're Fendi. I don't care.
Yeah,
So
I
what did
thought she
y'all
was
think of
gonna
Drew's
change.
outfit?
I'm like, why is she wearing these silk pajamas on the stage? Like, we get it, they're like name brand, but it still looks to me, it looked like a pajama set, like a good pajama set. I thought it was just like she's coming in because she had been sitting in that for a long time, like since the
Mm-hmm.
rehearsal when Candace was in the sweat. So you would think she had like another, something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I
That
was
looked like the
surprised she performed in
perfect
that.
43-second performance outfit.
That too. Maybe
Well,
that's why.
maybe I feel even if you only gave me 43 seconds to sing, I'ma still come out like Beyonce. Like I would be like Candace, like I'm a little Beyonce, like give me my moment. That
Mhm.
that what Drew had on, I was surprised, but I was like, I don't know if she's into some type of modesty thing. I don't know what's going on here. I really don't. But after that
Um,
moment,
really quickly, Layla, because I know you watched that whole interview with Jason Lee. Oh, you know this part too, Grace. I'm wondering if there was still tags on that outfit because Marlo says that she returns her stuff after she wears it and she puts plastic underneath her heels so that there won't be any scuff marks. I could definitely see that being returned the day after.
I wouldn't be surprised.
oh my God, with the sweat and everything, like that's crazy. I could see, I know what you're saying, and I could see it, but I'm just saying, like, I wouldn't accept it if I was working there. Like, I would not accept this back.
I
Mhm.
told my subscribers yesterday what it means to be hood rich. And hood rich is not ghetto, it's not a black thing, it's a anybody thing. And when you don't come from money and you praise money or you felt like, these people had it, I'm going to show it at all costs whether I can afford it or not. That is what Fendi Mania is for the most part. So you got Dorit, you got Drew, you got Marlo. Everything is about a label just so that people know you can afford it. But again, Fendi has things that are labelless. Gucci has things that are labelless. There are things that do not require a label, but these
Mhm.
women will not wear it. So you thought that these 1994 TLC pajama set was gonna be cute and all Fendi, and it fell flat. I'm sorry. It
Mhm.
was good on TLC. It's not great on Drew.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm not into the monogram label either. I feel like that's screaming like, you know what I mean? And I'm not into that. But
I have a
Mims.
few pieces. But you don't wear you don't. I mean, yes, you can wear head to toe, but I feel like on this show now, everybody's gonna wear that. What is that? I'll think of it later. There is a piece that every woman has worn. It's either gonna be in the cat suit or it's gonna be
Oh,
that
Mugler? Is that it?
Oh,
not
the
the
bodysuit?
Mugler, but there's
Mhm.
another thing. It's a really famous French designer. He does a lot with the Kardashians. A lot of structured
Oh,
outfits.
Belmont. That
Yes,
guy.
they
Yes.
all have the Balmain
Yeah.
outfit in every season so that you know that they can afford Balmain. Like I can't. They all have it.
Mhm.
They've all worn it. I always do a who wore it better because there will be 5 housewives in that.
I just always feel like stuff doesn't have to be name brand or even expensive, like to look good on you. Like if you know your body, like dress for your body and make it look good on you. Like a label is not going to save you, girl. Like it's not going to save you. People are not going to love it just because it's a label. Uh,
Mhm.
but Mims, somebody has a message for you. Fifi ASP said Mims not too much on the Ralph slander.
Well, Fifi, he's single now, so
If you're looking to get cheated on and gaslit.
I love Fifi. I absolutely. She's one of my day ones. Love her.
Okay, okay. I'm like, does Ralph really have fans? All right, you got yeah. So they had that moment backstage after what you call it performs. After Drew performs, they had that moment backstage, and so Manetta and Marlo kind of talk about things. Do y'all care about anything going on between Manetta and Marlo, or should we just
Mm.
skip to the Candy? And why is Candy so bothered by Courtney?
I think it's the other way around. Courtney came in swinging against Candy, and then now Candy is hearing that Courtney is calling like her fans like ghetto and stuff and being very classist towards them. And that's why she's upset. She's like, I don't know you, and you come in with this like hard on for me. What's going on? Is the vibe I'm getting anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
Before we move on, let me just say AJ30, thank you for the super chat. They said didn't care for Candace's wig, but she was cute and her mic was on. I definitely agree. I
Mhm.
thought she was so cute. I thought she was so cute up there performing. And I wish Drew had matched her vibe. But I think Drew will get there. Like if she goes back into music, I think she'll get there. She'll create her own vibe.
I think Candy's finally like feeling her own you know what I mean? Like I've been
As
on
she
this show
should.
for 14 years. I'm the longest running housewife, and you have already come up teaming up with the people who don't like me, and you're coming for technically she holds the crown and she's paid more than any other housewife for any other franchise. Like I think she's really like you're beneath me. So that's why Courtney affects her so much because it's like a friend of the show is coming on basically my show because it's Kenya and Candy's show at this point. Um, and I would probably feel the same way too. I might do what Kenya does though. I wouldn't even acknowledge you.
Mm.
The
Kenya
worst
is
Mm.
thing
good at that.
the
Yeah.
worst thing you can do to somebody is not fight them or read them. It's pretend like they don't exist so that way they don't fill the scene up.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Um, I thought it was interesting how upset Candy was getting. And I saw an interview. She said that she had just filmed the other show with her group members or whatever. So she was on edge. But the fact that she was getting so upset with Courtney, saying she brought the hood out and things like that, I didn't feel like it was warranted. Like I felt like you said, Mims, like you kind of ignore it, don't really acknowledge it. But Candy is like this, like she's got her thug finger out, like she's really like she's about to fight. And it's like Candy, girl, isn't
Ooh,
that
lady, you made me think about something. If I were Candy, I probably would have said, "Oh, so you mean your business didn't have any customers at all before I shouted you out?" And I would have just left it at that.
Yeah. Well, she did mention something like that. She was like, "You're welcome." I brought the people out. It doesn't matter if the people are ghetto. I brought the people out, so you're welcome.
Mhm.
I feel the same way. And I said this last week. I think we all agree we don't understand why people are trying to say Candy is ghetto. It's not clear to me. I can say for myself why people call Candy ghetto is not obvious. I don't get it.
Because
I don't
Nene
get
did
Especially
it her
in
first
Mimi.
season. That's why you're a fan of the
Mhm.
show. Nene said that season one, and it was a moment. So now
Mhm.
everybody does it.
And that's got to be tiring. You're the richest one out of all these people. You're richer than all of them combined, and they have the nerve to call you ghetto. I would snap too. Like
Yeah.
GTFO. Candy's been rich since she was like 12, 13 years old, like
Yeah.
singing, writing music. And these people have the nerve to call her. It's just ridiculous to me. So I
I
can
could
see why
take
people
care
get
of
that.
every one of you motherfuckers if I wanted to. I could.
She won't lie.
Exactly.
Say, Candy, I'm about to headbutt this bee.
That was
Why are
crazy.
you doing that? Is that what they talking about? Redhead Candy, is that what they talking about? Oh my God. Imagine Candy headbutting somebody. Like she's so little. But I think that's part of the trigger. Like with
Yeah.
anybody, the way people approach her and then she's short and they're like towering above her, kind of like triggering her. And I do know a lot of
Mm.
shorter people, they be ready to fight because it's like don't do that to them. Don't tower above them. Don't act like you're gonna, try to intimidate them because they be on edge already.
Mhm.
Thank you for the super chat. Akusa. Candy was already, she was already stressed from the SWV Escape show. What's the girl name in Escape that got Candy stressed? It's not Tamika, Latasha Scott.
Latasha.
Yeah,
She
yeah.
probably headbutted Latasha back in the day when they fought and tore up that studio.
That's like the worst fight move. Aren't you in pain yourself when you headbutt someone?
I never even thought about headbutting somebody. And you guys,
No.
I'll be honest. When I was younger, I used to fight. I think it was because I had an older brother. Yeah, but listen, I think it's because I had an
Not you
older
about
brother.
that life, Layla.
She's like the
Not
most
even-
anti-violence here on
yeah,
YouTube. I'm always like, okay, I could see why someone would like pop someone. Layla's like, no, unacceptable. Meanwhile,
but I'm talking about when I was a child. But it was only
yeah.
because I had a brother that made me kind of like a tomboy. But as an adult, no. Yeah, yeah, I'm
I
not
fight.
for. Oh, oh, Mims, you
It is
fight?
what it is. I'm the one you want on your team.
I'm the worst. I've never been in a fight, but I can see why some people get popped. That's like my only thing.
Yeah,
Like sometimes people really do push people over the edge. So I can see why it happens.
yeah. So regarding Candy, Trent said Candy's brand is hood rich. So the majority of her fans are probably from the hood. She doesn't give culture or academia or really anything but hustling, which is very much a hood brand.
Trent,
Is
put your shirt
Broadway
on.
not culture? He ain't got to put it on.
It looks so good. Let him flex.
Yeah, it looks good. Is Broadway not culture?
That's the
I
thing,
don't know.
I think about the Atlanta girls and I'm like, Nene having the nerve to call Candy Ghetto is wild to me. And then when I think of Portia, no one calls her that, but she is the girl who chases people down the alleyway to beat them. Like she beats everybody up. Like, I don't know why this is attached to her, but I'm curious about it. Maybe there's something there that we're just not seeing. I don't know. It's
Yeah.
interesting.
Let's go deep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you have Nene, case in point, who is also from the hood, or Athens is not necessarily the hood, but like we'll say country, more like a country setting.
Mhm.
Nene puts an affectation on her voice to not sound like that. Also, Quad does that as well. Quad's speaking voice is not how Quad typically would speak. There's another show on OWN. It's a Carlos King show where they're in Mississippi. One of the ladies
Bell
on
Collective,
there, on the Bell Collective, the lady
the
who's
radio host.
the radio host. If you see she talks like this, she's enunciating every word to remove that country twang from the way that she sounds. So I think that for those ladies, when they see somebody like Candy who chooses to just talk, she does College Park, she's very proud, and she's not trying to change that. I think that's why they say she's ghetto, because the other people have
Mm,
put on an air not to be who they were when they grew up.
Mm-hmm.
that's interesting. That's
What
very
does ghetto mean though? I'm always curious about that. What does it mean? Because to me, when I think ghetto, I think poor. You know what I mean? Or maybe like uneducated or this or that or whatever. But then when you're talking about someone who's rich, who's traveled the world, who's very generous and all these things, like just because of the way she speaks or whatever, she's ghetto. Like, I don't understand that. It's interesting.
I
Things to
know
read. A
it's a
whole
mind
nother
Which is that? It's a read. What?
No, think of Dorit. Dorit, who wants
Mhm.
to be more worldly, has put on that fake accent. You know what I mean? So I think people look at that. Even Mariah. Mariah was upset on her first season of her show because she didn't know which wine to drink. And when the woman was trying
Right.
to explain to her, she was super mad. There are airs that people put on, and they expect that if you are like them, you need to put on that same air to get in certain spaces and
Mm,
certain circles, like Marlo.
mm,
Like that's the epitome. You, Marlo, you've done some stuff. You've lived a whole life, and now you're covering it up with a label, and you're repackaging it, and you expect Candy to behave the same. You remember when she was trying to tell Candy about culture and class on her first season? Oh, it's etiquette, proper etiquette.
Yes, her book and everything. Yeah.
It's there's a psychology behind that, and they won't admit
Yeah.
it.
Mhm.
mm. Eva B said ghetto is a state of mind, not a place. And I agree with that. From my understanding, when somebody is called ghetto, it has to do with like they're saying like the way you think is ghetto, like you don't have an expanded point of view. Your mindset is really limited to the neighborhood you grew up in.
That
That's
is
my understanding
crazy.
about
Candy
ghetto.
is worldwide. Like her mind is expansive. On what planet is she ghetto of all these people? I don't know. I feel like there's something there.
People call me ghetto because I fly Spirit.
Why would you do that? I would never.
I don't. I do not
Woo.
mind it. I put on a sweatsuit and a hoodie and my sunglasses, get on that flight. Miami's only 2 hours away, and I'm
Yeah.
done. And then I can use the rest of that money for a better hotel room or a
Mm.
nicer rental car.
I feel like they nickel and dime you. My problem with Spirit and airlines like that they say they're low cost, show up with a pocketbook, show up with luggage, like they nickel and dime you. Like the base cost is low, but then they nickel and dime you for everything else. That's why I
Yeah.
don't bother with it. I'd rather fly Delta. Like leave me alone, leave me alone, leave me alone, leave me alone, because I don't want to fly
Frontier's in
anyway.
trouble for that. Have
Yeah.
I
you
don't
seen the
mind it.
videos of Frontier Airlines? They have that thing. It's like if your bag fits in here, it's free. If it doesn't, you have to pay. So right now on Twitter, they're going viral. They're going to apologize soon, I'm sure, because they have an incentive to their employees. They get $10 per bag that they refuse. So like your thing will
Mm.
fit blatantly, and they'll still say no and try to charge you $100 so they can get $10. It's wild. Yeah,
Mm.
you guys have to look at it. It's crazy.
I feel like I was assaulted. I want to say I flew United. No, this happened to me, and this makes sense, Grace, because my thing was overweight, and they charged me $200
Oh.
when I went to Miami, and I made the mistake of bringing
200.
shoes. Yeah, I brought shoes with me. I thought I was cute. I brought shoes, and it went overweight. And they
Mhm.
charged me 200, and I felt like I was violated with that. But that makes
Mhm.
sense. You know what I mean? If they're getting paid, like a little commission for saying that your luggage is too heavy, that totally makes sense.
It's
Hmm.
real
I know how
bad.
to ball on the budget. I'll let you all know. I flew
Yeah.
Spirit, but stayed at the Ritz. So,
Okay. Fair enough.
and I only paid like total $300 for that room. There are ways to ball on a budget.
For the
I'm
whole
too
trip
cheap.
or per night?
I was only there for one night on my way to
Okay.
DR, but I was like, I saw that. I hopped on that. I've never stayed at the Ritz before in my life. So when I
Yeah.
saw that two something, I said, sign me up.
Yes, yes, yes. That's how you do it. Thank you, Abu Bari, for the super chat. He said they call her ghetto in an effort to humble her because Candy is wealthy and successful, and it's the furthest thing from her brand.
I
Yeah.
think that's what it is too. It's
Mhm.
jealousy. I feel like a lot of these people are so jealous over Candy, and it showed a lot in Marlo this episode too. Like she was fuming with jealousy, and it's
Yeah.
not becoming.
So let's get into that. So Drew asks Candy about the shooting at her restaurant, but she doesn't use the word shooting, which actually it did confuse me. I'm going to be honest with you. It was kind of like, Drew, why are you bringing this up? I didn't understand why Drew brought it up. But then
Mhm.
Marlo was like, why are you not calling it what it is? What do y'all think about Drew not calling it a shooting, but still bringing it up? What was the point?
I think the whole cast knew that Candy did not want that word out there. And it's less about her cousin. Like I said last night, it's more about any business owner is not going to want that out there. She already told us that business is a little bit slow at Blaze and she's having to rebrand. Now you have a shooting, which means that it's not safe. She doesn't want that out there. And I don't blame her for not wanting it out there. I don't think that it's the legal matter is the issue. I think it's specifically about her business, and they know it's about her business, and it is a way to finally stick it to Candy, who is very business driven on this show.
Mm.
I agree. It was out of respect for Candy. They knew that like this was a very touchy thing. It was horrible PR for Candy. And as her friends, they didn't want to make it seem like they were ambushing her or like, trying to kick her while she's down on camera.
Mm. It's still either way. It didn't make sense to me. The way Drew did that didn't make sense to me because I feel like either you're going to talk about something or you're not. Even last week when they had Candy's nephew there and he's in a sling, I feel like why are you here if you're not going to talk about it?
Right.
Yeah, I thought that was weird. But
Layla,
then,
did it give you Cynthia Bailey when she was Phaedra, my husband told your husband that there's a Mr. Chocolate? That's what it gave me. Like they
oh,
made her talk about it. They made her be the bone collector, and she was absolutely uncomfortable. And Marlo knew what she was supposed to say, and that's why Marlo reacted like that, because she was
mm,
supposed to use the word shooting.
mm. So what? Okay, so that goes into Marlo and Drew. Like they have the producer cam. We're breaking the fourth wall this episode, and Marlo is confronting Drew about not using the word shooting, which I feel like was an important conversation when people don't. I don't like when people talk around an issue. You know what I mean? And I did a video about that with the Shanquella Robinson case, like when people like with with her autopsy and her genitals being like destroyed like by some type of weapon, but when they do the autopsy, they just say lower abdomen. Like when people talk around the issue and don't call it what it is, like it triggers me. So I felt Marlo when she was saying that why aren't you using the word shooting? Why aren't you calling it what it is? I did understand her point of view. I did. And then with
Mhm.
her nephew having worked for Candy and Candy, I guess she didn't know him, but her, I guess, not showing any type of respect to his passing, I did kind of feel for Marlo.
But
What did y'all
Marlo
But
didn't even know that the boy worked there until the sister had just said. So how close were you to your nephew that he didn't have a conversation with you? Auntie, I'm working for your friend, your coworker. That to me was strange. How do you just find out where your nephew works because now he's gone and your sister's now saying, well, he worked for Candy? And also, you were going through some form of grief, of course, because you just lost somebody, but the first thing you think to do is reach out to Candy to say, did you know my nephew, he passed away? Like, to me, y'all aren't close like that, so what are you needing from her? You get what I'm saying? It's a touchy subject. I feel really bad for Marlo, but when I really like thought about it and why she was angry, you wanted Candy to validate some of your feelings, and when you did not get what you felt you needed, she has now like stoked your ire for now years, as opposed to just saying, if we were friends and you're an adult, I needed something more from you in that moment that I didn't get. And then she wanted it brought up on camera the next day. So your nephew passes away, you reach out to Candy, I guess that same night. Then y'all film the next day, and you're wanting Candy to really bring it up. Something is there. There's
No, that's
a
not what she said. That's not what she said. She said she was upset that she texted Candy, the night before and told her about it. But then when she talked to Candy on camera, Candy acted like it was the first time she was hearing it. That's what she said.
well that's what I mean. She's wanting Candy to engage in that conversation the very next day. I don't know that I would even be able to film the day after my relative passed away. People grieve differently. I might get some flack for that, but I didn't understand why you were. It was like Lisa Vanderpump being mad that Erica Jane sent her a card when her brother had passed, and she was like, "It was a nice card. It was from her and her husband." And Lisa was like, "You only sent me a few lines." It's that expectation. Just in my opinion, there's something there.
Mhm. Yeah, it kind of felt like she wanted to link the cousin to the restaurant shooting to me in some weird way. Like, obviously, Candy's own cousin was shot at her restaurant. And so now Marlo's like, oh, my cousin, my nephew was shot. He worked for Candy. Like, okay, he worked for her, but he didn't get shot at the restaurant. He got shot by his roommate. It's a completely different story. But I felt like she was trying to like throw it in there as well. And that's why she was relying so heavily on his link to Candy. Candy owns a restaurant. She doesn't work in there, So like, yeah, she might have known him like from coming in to see how things are going from time to time. but not that much for it to be devastating news to her. You know what I mean? So I felt like it was a bit weird too.
Candy knew the boy worked for her, but Marlo didn't even know the boy worked for her. Candy said, I know who that is. He just doesn't work here anymore. Marlo didn't even know where her own nephew worked.
Mm-hmm.
I just felt like I feel like Marlo wanted it to be important to Candy. And I do feel like, with people that work in the kitchen, like Candy and Todd seem to be in the kitchen. Like I feel like they might not know all the waiters and waitresses and things like that, but it seems like they, be in the kitchen, especially with their nephew working in the kitchen. And so I did understand Marlo's point of view. Like, I told you about this last night. Now I'm telling you about it again today. You're acting like I didn't even tell you. Like, it almost feels like a disregard, like, for my nephew's life. You know what I mean? That's how it came across to me. So I did kind of see Marlo's point of view. And I guess that's why, at this point, she feels like Candy is a phony person and only talks about the things, which I don't agree with. When she says Candy only talks about positive things, I don't agree with that. But on this situation, I did see Marlo's point of view. I did.
Layla, can I counter something there? Because once you were saying that, it got me to thinking. Marlo also did that same thing as it related to her nephews. She was mad at Candy, who sent like birthday cards and birthday money, but she said, no, I want you to invite my kids over and I want to spend the time. They need to spend time with you and you're part of my village. But it's like, that would be something that Candy might do for Tiny's children, maybe Tamika's children now that they're cool, maybe Kenya's daughter, but we're not friends like that. And that this is now the second time that Marlo feels like she's exposing Candy for being a fraud. The first time was, well, you say how many people who are your coworkers send cards filled with money to your nephews that you are now taking care of? Did Nene send them something? That would be my question. All of your good friends, did Sheree send them a t-shirt? Probably not, because they would already be on Instagram wearing it. So why is the expectation that Candy didn't even want to talk about her own nephew getting, or cousin getting shot
Yeah.
on camera? So she's already set a precedent that she's not going to talk about that kind of stuff. So you, instead of just saying to her in that scene, oh, I'm really still distraught because my nephew passed away. And then Candy could have, talked about it. But you said something like, I've been on the phone with my sister all night. And you expected Candy to say, was it about the shooting? And she didn't give you that, and you're mad. Put it out there. If you want something for a scene, put it out there. Let her know I'm willing to talk about it on camera. But
I just don't like that. If I tell somebody that, even whether you're my friend or associate, if I tell somebody that my nephew died and the next day I'm stressed and they ask me why am I stressed, that's a problem for me. You know what I mean? I just told you my nephew died. That's a problem for me. So, like I said, that's why I understand Marlo's point of view on that particular situation, especially since he did work at OLG. A lot of times, when people have worked at a certain place, they will acknowledge it. And so I just understand Marlo's point of view on that. But you guys, I want to thank you guys for joining us for our recap of episode 3 of The Real Housewives of Atlanta. We do this every week with your favorite YouTubers, myself, Make It Make Sense, and Grace Report. So thank you for supporting our channels. Thank you for those of you who have joined us today. We have over 1,000 in the chat. So hopefully you've hit the thumbs up button to get us into the algorithm. And I'll ask you guys, what are you looking forward to on the next episode?
Great question. Okay, what is this mess Sheree is playing around with? Talking about, let me go see the gynecologist to see if I'm pregnant or not. I want to know what that mess is all about. Yeah.
I bet you it's fibroids. I know it's fibroids.
What a mess.
I just want to make sure that they stop addressing old things. Like, I don't want to hear anything else about a BravoCon being part of your storyline. I don't want to hear anything else about last year's reunion or something that somebody might have said to you during last season. That's a telltale sign that you don't really have anything going on currently. So, and I love Kenya. She's my favorite housewife, but you can't be telling Monyetta what to wear at a charity event when you wore this to a charity event. You can't do it.
Hold it up again. Let me see.
Remember?
That was Ken. Oh, okay. You saying Kenya?
She was
Okay.
mocking Phaedra with that
Yeah,
outfit.
yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't think Mayetta's outfit, it was like a short set. Like, I don't think it was inappropriate, for children to be around. But
Yeah,
I am looking forward to that. Kenya's performance with the Magic City Classic. And then I also want to know when Marlo was like kicking Kenya's door like that,
yeah.
what was that about? Because I did think that was a lie. I want to know what that was about.
She's such bad
Marlo said
vibes. Marlo, I'm sorry. She's bad vibes. Like,
Yeah.
she said in that interview with Jason Lee that she loves Kenya's daughter and that's the best part about Kenya and everything, but she don't need to be having the daughter around when we're filming. And so that is, I think, now an ode to her kicking that door. That little girl is in a hotel room probably more nights out of the year than any of us combined, and she needs to feel safe and secure with her mother, who is her only parent. So if you have a moment where you have a 3-year-old or a 4-year-old who hears banging and somebody screaming, calling your mom's name, that could be very off putting to a child. And that is extremely ridiculous for Marlo to do, not to Kenya, but to her daughter, who you knew was with her and who was with
mhm.
her on every cast trip. I didn't like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely agree. I don't think it's ever that serious. Whether your daughter is in there or not, it's never that serious for me to be kicking your door. Like, it's never that serious. But thank you to for joining me today. Thank you to you guys who joined us in the chat and those of you who are going to watch the replay. And we will see you next week. Next week, Grace will be hosting, and I can't wait. I can't wait.
Thanks,
Bye, you
guys.
guys.